The Chinese and the Indians do not want our junk silver. So it is going to get melted. So what does that mean when you have less of this available to an American market, to a Canadian market? What if half of the junk silver just disappears? Well, it makes this a lot more valuable. So those that are holding junk silver are going to make some money, which is nice, right? Unfortunately, we're going to see a part of our history melted down as well. The Coin Story podcast would like to thank its sponsors, Fondo Coffee, freshly roasted coffee every time, and GBD Marketing, engage, convert, and thrive.
The horror! The horror! I see silver everywhere.
Is the US dollar going to zero? Should I just drop my junk silver right in the toilet bowl? Be ready to fight for your right for silver! All that and more on the next episode of the Coin Story podcast, special market edition. Welcome to your special edition of the Coin Story podcast market report. Well, today we're going to be talking about the great junk silver glut and the coming price spike. Well, what's going on out there? Well, you have junk silver 90% and scrap that's under intense stress as refineries are overloaded with backlog and the beginning to halt the process of new material. Why is this happening? Well, you have lots of new collectors coming into the market wanting these beautiful shiny bars, while you have a lot of old collectors that are dumping their 90% silver. So there is a glut in the market. So unfortunately, the new collectors do not like our dirty junk silver. I think it's great. I love the history that it has. I think it's beautiful. It has beautiful designs, and it's a part of our U.S. history. But unfortunately, the new collectors, they want a cool dragon. They don't want my junk silver. So what's happening? Well, you have these wealthy new collectors that are buying shiny bars. They're buying the beautiful silver eagles, and it's driving the price up on the shiny stuff. On the back end, you have all of these old collectors dumping their 90%, and the coin shops are full, the refineries are full, and we have a glut in the market. The physical versus paper market disconnected and is widening. In parts of Asia, premiums in the Shanghai exchange are over the Western spot and are large enough to incentivize air freight movement of silver gold bars. This is also occurring at the London Exchange. In China and India, physical silver availability is reportedly near zero in many dealer networks. Shelves are empty despite buyers offering premiums over spot. In India, especially silver trading double-digit % premiums over global rates, and important volumes have plunged 42% down in the first 8 months of 2025, causing supply stress. What does this mean? It means a glut in the market, which means an opportunity for you. This large supply of junk silver in household, estate, and secondary markets has given the impression of a glut. Many owners are eager to offload before further decline in junk silver bid levels. Now, you have to remember there's a lot of people out there that have waited patiently, and we've had 2 major downturns in silver. So they see this spot of 50 as an opportunity to offload. Unfortunately, with everything that is happening at the refineries and the glut that has occurred, it's caused a frenzy in sellers, which means for collectors and buyers, there's an opportunity. Junk silver is being discounted sharply relative to spot futures. Some sellers accept steep discounts just to move the metal, and this is affecting coin shops and local groups that sell that you see on Facebook. The market is pricing in the risk that the melt chain is broken. If refiners reopen capacity or lease rates normalize, a flood of latent demand may reverse the discount. Speculators and stackers are watching for that trigger. When processing unfreezes and current discounts may reverse violently. So what is the bull case for junk silver? Well, once the bottleneck eases, i.e. refineries catch up, lease rates drop, or regulatory import constraints adjust, there could be a sharp repricing of junk silver toward parity. The premium gap between physical and paper can compress, triggering a short squeeze in scrap junk silver markets. If derivative markets, futures or forwards, adjust in a backtration in silver, spot above futures may steepen further, dragging paper players into covering. At that moment, junk silver, which trades among coin investors, becomes a cheap ticket into the physical market. Many will back up the truck. The upside is limited downside. Junk is already deeply discounted, and significant upside potential in reprocessing demand ignites. So again, as we said at the beginning of the program, the Chinese and the Indians do not want our junk silver. So it is going to get melted. So what does that mean when you have less of this available to an American market, to a Canadian market? What if half of the junk silver just disappears? Well, it makes this a lot more valuable. So those that are holding junk silver are going to make some money, which is nice, right? Unfortunately, we're going to see a part of our history melted down as well. So as a coin collector, I love the fact that this is a symbol of United States numismatic history and our overall history, our patriotic history. So that will be sad. So there is kind of a bittersweet in this pill. Anybody that has this is going to make some money. But unfortunately, we're going to see a large part of our history disappear. So let's speculate. Historically, most of the time, or most of the times when this has occurred, that refineries have backed up, it takes 3 to 5 months for these refineries to process the material. Unfortunately, they're not even processing 90% right now. They're processing 3/9 fine, damaged rounds, and they're not even really processing the 90% or 80% Canadian right now. So we have time. We have 3 to 5 months to pile up the truck, to stack as much silver as we can, to grab all we can grab. So within our budgets, of course. So just let you know that there is a narrow window here to make money. Let me know out there if any of you, any of the listeners of the Coin Story podcast work in a refinery and they want to let us know how fast they're processing this backlog, because we would like to know, I would like to know, just to know how much time I have left, and how much of my savings should I dig into to put money into junk silver. So I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of the Coin Story podcast, Market Edition. I hope you're doing well out there. And remember, every coin has a life and a story to tell if you're patient enough to listen. I'm Pete. Coin Story focuses on the history of a single coin. Coins move through the ages from hand to hand and from decade to century. These coins represent the work and culture of the people that own them. Every coin has a story to tell if you're patient enough to listen. Take a little time out of your day and join me for a walk back in time. Every coin has a life, and each coin tells a story.